Welcome back to Table for One, a show where, unlike other YouTube cooking shows, the recipes can actually be followed by normal people without thousands of dollars worth of kitchen equipment. In front of me I have a nice piece of beef, which if I were to just straight up sear on both sides in a pan with some butter and garlic would undoubtedly taste good, but this piece is so small I would probably be hungry again in an hour or two. So why don't we turn it into something that's a bit more of a complete meal, like a nice hearty beef stroganoff. Now, I say beef stroganoff, but this isn't going to be a traditional beef stroganoff that you would find at a fancy restaurant with expensive mushrooms and a wine reduction. That's not the point of this show. This show is all about how to get creative with the ingredients you have on hand or in your local supermarket. So if you're a purist, we can just call this dish a beef stroganoff-ish. That sounds good, beef stroganoff-ish. To make beef stroganoff-ish, we're going to need our piece of beef. This is approximately 150 grams. To be honest, any cut will do. We're also going to need 1 medium onion, 2 cloves of garlic, 1 tablespoon of tomato paste, 1 tablespoon of sour cream, cooking cream works as well, 1 to 1.5 cups of preferably homemade beef or chicken stock, but in the interest of making this video more budget friendly and less labor intensive, we're going to substitute that with this, the Humbo chicken stock cube. While not as delicious, it works just fine, and a pack of 2 of these costs less than 50 cents here in Dubai. We're also going to need 1 tablespoon of butter and 1 tablespoon of flour, but I forgot to film myself placing them on the cutting board dramatically, so... Now let's move on to the optional ingredients. 1 carrot. This is going to add some sweetness to the final dish, and since we're not using much meat here, anything that adds more volume to it is welcome. Chili flakes, and the unpronounceable Worcestershire sauce. To begin, pat your beef dry with some paper towels, cut it into bite-sized pieces and set it aside. Dissolve your chicken stock cube in 2 cups of hot water. This is more liquid than we need, however, I found that dissolving it in less makes it too concentrated, plus we can use the extra liquid to loosen the final dish if it turns out too thick. Next, peel and dice your onion. When it comes to stews, gravies, and everything in between, I like my onions on the chunkier side, but feel free to go as fine as you want. Do the same thing with your optional carrot if you're using one. Now, I know I said 2 cloves of garlic, but I love garlic, so I'm gonna use 4. Keep in mind that the more you process garlic, the more garlicky it tastes, so if you're using just 2 cloves, consider using a garlic press or a rasp. Me, I'm just gonna thinly slice mine. And that's it! The mise en place is done, and we can now move on to the stove. Set your trusty, banged up, medium-sized saucepot over medium-high flame. Add 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil to it and preheat until it's ripping hot and shimmering a bit. Add your beef and stir to sear it on all sides. Now, if you don't get your oil hot enough or if you overcrowd your pot, this is going to happen. The beef is going to release a lot of water, and most YouTube quote-unquote chefs will tell you that you have now ruined your beef and you should just throw it away. You know the kind, they also act like cooking beef to anything past medium rare is a crime against humanity. But I'm here to tell you this is fine. It happens. We're not cooking for the queen here. Just keep cooking it until all the liquid evaporates, the beef picks up some color, and you develop some nice brown bits at the bottom of the pot. That's called fond, and it's where all the flavor is. Fish out your beef and set it aside. Lower the heat to medium-low and add your butter. No need to wait for it to melt, you can go ahead and dump your onions in there too. Add a big pinch of salt and start stirring and scraping the bottom of the pot, preferably with a wooden spoon. The salt is going to make the onions release a lot of moisture, which is going to help to scrape up all the yummy brown bits. If you're having trouble with this, add a splash of the stock we made earlier that should help with the deglazing. Next, add your optional chili flakes, stir and cook for a minute, and then add your optional carrot. Cook the whole thing for a few minutes until everything has picked up a nice color. Then add your sliced or pressed garlic and cook until fragrant. Add a nice heaping tablespoon of tomato paste, fry that for a few minutes, and then add 1 tablespoon of flour. This is what's going to thicken the stock and turn it into gravy. Fry for a minute or so, or until the raw flour smell dissipates. Now slowly stream in your stock, a little bit at a time, and stir to incorporate. Add more stock, stir again, and keep doing it until you've reached your desired consistency. For this much meat, I usually end up using about a little bit more than a cup of stock. Add your beef back in. If you have any
Worcestershire
sauce, Add a few dashes of it at this point. Mix it in, cover with a lid, and set it on the back burner with a very low flame for about 10 minutes to simmer. Use that time to do some of the dishes, because otherwise you'll have to do all of them after you eat, and let's face it, nobody wants to move that much after they eat. After 10 minutes, the final step is to take the pot off heat and add 1 tablespoon of sour cream. It's very important to do this step off heat, otherwise the sour cream is going to break and turn the whole thing into a greasy, oily mess. Stir rigorously to incorporate, season to taste with some salt and black pepper, and you're done! Now just spoon it over some steamed rice, garnish with some parsley, which I'm not doing because I didn't feel like buying a whole bunch of herbs just to sprinkle a tiny bit of it on my food as the money shot for this video. So there you have it. Beef stroganoff-ish, made with simple ingredients, and it took just half an hour to make. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this recipe, please subscribe, leave a like, and comment which dish you would like to see a simple single serving recipe of. Bye!